All right, regulatory masterminds, are you ready for a deep dive? Today we're tackling FDA and ICH guidelines, but
What a twist.
yeah, twist. We're turning this into a quiz show. Think,
Wait, don't tell me.
yes, exactly. Wait, don't tell me. But for regulatory experts like
Yeah.
you,
So you think you know your stuff.
you think you can handle the heat.
Let's find out.
All right, round one. Name that trial phase. I'll give you a scenario, and you got to tell me which phase of the clinical trial we're in. Think you're up for it.
Hit me with it.
All right, picture this. A new drug, we'll call it Eureka. It's supposed to cure the common cold, but right now it's only being tested on a small group of healthy volunteers. Researchers are watching really closely to see how Eureka moves through the body, and if it causes any weird side effects. What trial phase are we in?
Okay, this is a classic phase 1. Remember, it's all about safety first. Got to make sure Eureka doesn't have any,
Unforeseen consequences.
Yeah, exactly, like turning our volunteers into sneezing zombies or something.
Right. Got to dip our toes in the regulatory pool before we do a cannonball,
Yeah.
right? But phase one, it's not just about side effects. What else are those researchers looking for at this stage?
Well, they're trying to figure out how the drug is absorbed, how it's distributed, broken down, and how it leaves the body. Basically, we're creating a roadmap for Eureka's journey through the human system.
So it's not just about making sure people don't sprout extra noses. It's about understanding how the drug works in the body.
Exactly. We need that deep dive to make sure the drug is both safe and effective later on.
Okay, next scenario. Eureka's made it through phase one. No zombie outbreaks. Now it's being tested on more people, and this time they actually have colds. Researchers are checking to see if Eureka actually makes those sniffles and sneezes go away, all while keeping a close eye out for any safety issues. What phase is this?
All right, this is where we move into phase 2. Think of it as the proving ground, where we see if Eureka really lives up to its name.
So we're looking for proof that it works.
Right. Does it actually do what it's supposed to do? And are we still seeing that good safety profile, especially now that people are, actually sick?
Right, so it's like, okay, Eureka, you didn't turn anyone into a zombie, but can you actually fight a cold?
Exactly. It's all about that balance, effectiveness and safety. This is where things start to get real in drug development.
All right, final scenario for this round. Eureka is a cold-busting champ. Now it's going head-to-head with the other cold medicines out there, maybe even a placebo. We're talking thousands of people, long-term follow-up, the works. What's the phase?
Okay, this is the big leagues phase 3. Think of it as the grand finale.
The Super Bowl of drug development.
Exactly. We've got to know, is Eureka really better, or at least as good as what's already out there? And is it still safe over the long haul? This is the data the FDA really cares about.
All right, so regulatory superstars. How'd you do in round one? Did you ace name that trial phase, or are you feeling a little congested?
Don't worry if you missed a few. We're just getting started. Up next, round 2. Regulation riddles. Get ready to test your knowledge of those delightful FDA and ICH guidance documents.
So grab your thinking caps and get ready for a regulatory riddle fest. We'll be back in a flash. Welcome back, regulatory rock stars. Ready to untangle some regulation riddles.
Oh yeah, get those synapses firing. We're about to dive into the intricate world of FDA and ICH guidelines.
All right, so these aren't your average riddles.
Oh,
These are designed to make even the most seasoned regulatory expert, really think.
Okay, let's kick things off with riddle number 1. I'm a document, and I'm so comprehensive I make War and Peace look like a pamphlet. I'm basically the bedrock of drug regulations in the U.S., dictating everything from, labeling requirements to good manufacturing practices. What am I?
Okay, this one's a layup, right? It's the Code of Federal Regulations, Title 21. Basically, the regulatory Bible for anyone working with drugs in the U.S.
That's right, the CFR. But let's not just, name it. Let's really explore it. So tell me, what makes the CFR so crucial to your everyday work?
Well, it's like our roadmap, right? It's the ultimate guide to navigating, those FDA regulations. Without it, we'd be totally lost. Like, imagine a sea of acronyms and guidance documents.
Exactly. It's the foundation for everything we do in drug development.
Okay, riddle number 2. I'm a global initiative, a collaborative effort to harmonize drug development across borders. I cover it all, from clinical trial design to drug safety data management. Who am I?
Ah, this is about bringing the world together on drug regulations. It's got to be the ICH
You
guidelines.
got it. The International Council for Harmonization, or ICH. It's like the United Nations of Pharmaceuticals, right? Bringing everyone to the table to agree on drug development standards.
Exactly. And why is that global harmonization so important in your line of work?
Well, without ICH, I mean, just imagine, right? It would be like a regulatory Tower of Babel. Every country with its own standards, its own requirements. Complete chaos.
Right. ICH helps streamline the process. We can run clinical trials, generate data, and it's accepted worldwide. Huge win for efficiency and collaboration.
It's okay. Ready for riddle number 3. I'm all about those pesky impurities. The unwanted guest crashing the drug substance party. I set strict limits on what's acceptable and how to control those potential troublemakers. Who am I?
Okay, this is about quality control, right?
Yeah.
Got to be ICH Q3A.
Nailed it. ICH-Q3A, it's our guide to dealing with impurities in drug substances. It's all about making sure that final drug product is pure and safe.
But let's dig a little deeper. What are some of the challenges you face in actually putting ICH Q3A into practice?
Well, first off, just identifying and measuring those impurities, that can be tough, especially when we're dealing with complex drug substances. We have to use like really advanced techniques.
Right. It's not just about finding them, it's about controlling them throughout the whole manufacturing process.
Absolutely. It's a constant battle to keep those impurities in check, but that's what these guidelines are for, right? They help us navigate these complexities.
Okay, riddle number 4. I deal with a particularly sensitive topic, mutagenic impurities. The ones that can mess with DNA. I provide a framework for assessing and mitigating the risks of these potent substances. Who am I?
Ooh, okay, this is getting specific. We're not talking about just any impurity here. This is serious stuff. It's got to be ICH-M7, right?
Right on. ICH-M7 is all about those mutagenic impurities. It's a systematic way to identify, assess, and control these potential genetic disruptors.
Why is ICH-M7 so crucial for patient safety?
Well, think about it. Mutagenic impurities, they have the potential to cause some serious problems, like cancer. We have a responsibility to make sure those drug products are free of those substances.
Absolutely. ICH-M7 helps us with the science, the risk assessment, all that.
Okay, last riddle for this round. I focus on electronic records, electronic signatures, in the pharmaceutical world, making sure data integrity and security are top-notch, especially in this digital landscape. Who am I?
Electronic records, data integrity. This has to be 21 CFR Part 11. Yes, you got it. 21 CFR Part 11. It's like our digital guardian. It makes sure those electronic records and signatures are trustworthy, reliable.
But why is Part 11 so important, especially now with everything being digital?
I mean, think about all the data we generate and manage electronically these days. We need to have strong controls in place to guarantee that data is accurate, secure, and tamper-proof.
It's like our digital fingerprint, ensuring accountability and traceability.
Well done, everyone. Round 2 is officially in the books. Did you conquer those regulation riddles, or are you feeling a little riddled with doubt?
No matter your score, we hope you're enjoying this regulatory roller coaster. Up next, round 3, Mythbusters, Drug Development Edition. We're going to tackle some common misconceptions that even seasoned pros might fall for.
So stay tuned. We'll be back in a flash.
All right, regulatory gurus, it's time for the final showdown. Mythbusters, Drug Development Edition.
Get ready. We're about to separate fact from fiction, debunk some of those myths that just won't die.
All right, myth number 1. Biologics and small molecule drugs are basically the same, just, fancier names. Myth or fact?
Okay, that's a myth that needs busting. Biologics and small molecule drugs, they're totally different. Think of it this way. Small molecule drugs are like Legos. Simple. You can synthesize them in the lab.
Yeah.
But biologics, they're more like those complicated origami creations, really complex molecules, and often they come from living organisms.
Oh, I see.
That makes them super powerful, but also it means they're a lot trickier to make, to characterize, and to regulate.
So we're not just arguing semantics here. We're talking about two completely different things.
Right, and knowing the difference is key if you want to navigate the regulatory pathways.
Okay, myth number 2. Controlled substances, they're so tightly regulated that patients who need them can't get them. Myth or fact?
That's another one we got to bust. While it's true that controlled substances are, really carefully regulated, those rules are there for a reason. We have to prevent abuse, but we also have to make sure patients who really need these medications can get them.
So it's like finding that balance.
Exactly. Safety and access. We've got systems to track these drugs, from manufacturing to dispensing, but it's not about making it impossible, it's about making it safe.
Right, so it's not like locking these meds in a vault. It's about making sure they reach the right people.
Exactly. It's a tough challenge for sure, but we're always working on new approaches.
Okay, last myth for today. Once a drug gets approved by the FDA, everyone just, like, breathes a sigh of relief, and that's it. Monitoring. Done. Myth or fact?
Oh, definitely a myth. Post-market surveillance, that's critical. It's ongoing. The FDA, they keep watching that drug, even after it's out there, available to patients.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's like launching a satellite, right? You don't just launch it and forget about it. You got to keep tabs on it, make adjustments, make sure it's working right.
Yeah. So drug development, it's not just a one-and-done kind of thing.
Right. It's a constant process. Monitoring, evaluating, improving. It never really stops.
All right, that wraps up all 3 rounds of our regulatory quiz show. Give yourselves a round of applause, everyone. You navigated those tricky clinical trial phases, untangled those FDA and ICH guidelines, and busted some serious drug development myths.
We hope you had some fun and maybe learned a thing or two.
And remember, drug development, it's a constantly evolving field, right? You got to keep learning, keep adapting, and never lose that curiosity.
So keep exploring, keep asking those tough questions, and keep pushing the boundaries, what's possible.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of drug development. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay compliant.